Holy moly, what's going on with the gaming industry? Xbox now putting their games on the PlayStation Store, Microsoft's upcoming console. What's in store for the gaming industry going forward? Hey, I'm C-Wire with the C-Wire Nation. If you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. Let's get into this and let's throw some frags out on this. So, as some of you may have heard or may not have heard, Microsoft has several titles, five, I believe, in the PlayStation Store, and they are right now listed as their current top sellers. Now, these are currently older titles. I know Forza Horizon's in there and doing very well. What does this all mean going forward? Uh, Listen, man, I kind of predicted a few years ago that this is where gaming was going to go, especially when we got into the digital space with everything. The fact of the matter is, these companies want to make money, and they don't make money on the hardware, they make money on their software. With Xbox being in, I think, third place amongst the big three, they're really looking to carve out their niche and take a different way forward. Kind of in many ways taking a play out of Nintendo's playbook, kind of like Nintendo does Nintendo's own thing, and they seem to be doing pretty well. So, what does this mean all going forward? Well, we have to take a look at the discussions of the next upcoming planned Xbox, which is planned for 2027. What is it? Maybe some of you haven't heard about it. I'll give you a little insight. As of right now, reports are going to be it is going to be a hybrid console, which means it's going to be a console slash PC, which means it will be able to run the Steam store, Epic, and whatever else they decide to put on there, and obviously Game Pass and all that stuff. So you'll be able to get access to PC games and and obviously games on Game Pass. What does that mean for you as the consumer? It just means more value. You're basically going to have, if this is what they're saying was shaping up what it's going to be, you're going to have a console slash PC hybrid underneath your TV, which is going to give you access to hundreds, if not thousands, of games that would normally be on PC and not available to console players. This opens up a whole new market to game publishers. And this is the direction Microsoft is going. They're now shifting gears. Now, there are rumors, oh, they're going to get out of the hardware space and everything you had is going to be lost. No, Microsoft has been very upfront and apparent that they are not leaving the hardware industry. They're still going to produce Xbox hardware. What they want to do is have their games everywhere. And this is why they're starting to put a few older titles on the PlayStation, kind of as like a test bed to see how things go. Because let's face it, there are people on the PlayStation side of the house who love their PlayStation, love what the PlayStation has to offer, and will not buy an Xbox. Okay? Their secondary console may be a Nintendo Switch, maybe a PC, but they don't have any intentions on buying a Microsoft product. How do you reach those millions of gamers? Well, kind of go semi third party with your first party output, which is what Microsoft is doing. And they're now starting to put games on the PlayStation Store, and their pre-sales are doing extremely well, proving that the PlayStation fan base wants to play these games. Now, if you're Sony, you're taking a look back and you're going to see how well this works out before you decide to do it. Now, as you know, Sony's already starting to put some games on PC, and they're having success there. So now the question is, if the new Xbox runs the Steam and all that, and PlayStation has their games in there, will you be able to play a PlayStation game that was ported for PC off the Steam store, you buy it off the Steam store, on your Xbox console? I'm going to say right now, yes, because that would involve Sony going through and doing a lot of tinkering and tampering to have the game recognize that you're not playing it on either a PC or dedicated Sony hardware. Because keep in mind, and for those of you that are PC players, you already know this, if you don't play on PC, PC runs on Windows. Who makes Windows? Microsoft. So with that being said, I don't think they'll be able to do that. So you, as an Xbox consumer, if you don't own a PlayStation product, will be able to purchase that game off Steam, Epic Store, whatever app integration that they put in this new console and play that title. That's a great value in my mind. And if I'm Sony, I'm looking at this saying, hey, there's another player base over here who are not going to buy a Sony product. And that could be for many reasons, mainly the economy, because let's face it, consoles are expensive. So, we'll just go with the current rate of consoles, which is, we'll say $500, right? Just in hardware alone, if you were to own all three of the big three hardware, you're looking at almost $1,500 just in hardware alone that you spent. That's not including buying the software to play it. And not a lot of people have that kind of money lying around. And the same thing goes for the PC space. Most PC players probably have a home console that they use off and on, but they're really dedicated PC people, and and they love everything that PC gives them with the customization, the different graphics cards they can put in, all that. All that costs money. What Microsoft, I think, is looking to do is to bridge the gap between PC and console. So you have the console player that doesn't really want to delve into PC and wants that ready-to-go box to put under their TV, ready to go, that behaves like a PC but is also a console. That's the direction they're going in. And by them putting their games on other platforms generates more revenue. I mean, let's think of it. Let's say they, which just talks, the Halo Master Chief Collection goes to PlayStation. And let's say, I don't know, we'll just say 6 million out of the PlayStation player base buys the Master Chief Collection at, we'll just say, $50 a pop. That's extra revenue that Microsoft is getting. That's 6 million additional sales on a game that's probably not selling that much now, because most of us Xbox people have already bought it. Now you've gotten an additional 6 million out of that, and let's not forget, because it is in the PlayStation Store, Sony gets also a cut of that percentage. So they're also making money. So if you're these big corporations, this is a win-win strategy, and and I believe they're letting Microsoft take a look at it and test bed this and see how well this goes. But I believe the days of console exclusives is slowly going away. The business model is changing. I don't really believe we're going to see the console war that everyone keeps talking about, like how I had back in the late 80s and the 90s between Sega and Nintendo. And that was a true console war and a great time to be alive, because I'll be honest, if you owned a Super Nintendo, if you're in my age bracket, with 45 into maybe your late 30s, you most likely had a Super Nintendo and a Sega Genesis. Don't let anybody fool you, because we'd argued about it on the bus stop. Oh, this system's better than this system. Let me tell you. You know what got me to buy a Genesis? I'll tell you what got me to buy a Genesis. Streets of Rage 2. Flat out, bar none. Streets of Rage 2, in my opinion, is like the gold standard of side-scroller beat-em-ups in that genre. That game does everything right. But I digress. So anyway, future of gaming, I think we're going to head to where you'll see Sony and Microsoft, they will continue to produce hardware, continue to produce games. It'll just be, you pick the hardware where you want to play your games at. And this is going to come down to the ecosystem. I myself personally enjoy the Xbox ecosystem, so that's where I'm going to choose to play. Someone who's a PlayStation guy, if PlayStation decides to go down the route of a hybrid console, and they like the PlayStation UI and all that stuff, they're going to choose to play on PlayStation, will have access to all the same stuff. It's basically doing the PC model on a console platform. With PC, you can have any PC you want. You can custom make it yourself. You can go to whatever company and get one. It doesn't matter. As long as you have the internal guts on the inside to run your games, you're solid gold. And I think this is the direction gaming is going. So do I think this is a bad thing? No, it just gives more games to us gamers who enjoy this hobby. Because let's not forget, at the end of the day, all that box is under your TV, it's just a piece of plastic. It's just a vehicle for you to enjoy this hobby that we love so much and play games and provide entertainment. That is what it is, its sole purpose to do. So, to those who are getting angry that Xbox games are on PlayStation and getting really pissed off, or PlayStation folks getting pissed at the idea that one of their games may come to Xbox, you guys got to understand that mentality is going to hurt the industry if you're locking a game out from other players. Because the more a game sells, the more likely you are to get a sequel out of it. And to continue that franchise, if you really love that franchise, you gotta think about that going forward here. I mean, the possibilities are endless. I think the roadmap that Microsoft has laid out and the direction of Xbox is very interesting. I do think, though, Phil Spencer and all them need to be a lot more clear on their messaging. Clear cut, here's the direction we're going in, here's the vision that we're looking at. Now you may be thinking, where does Nintendo fall into all this? Well, Nintendo's Nintendo, and Nintendo may not go that route, putting their games on other platforms, just because, well, they're Nintendo and they sell millions upon millions of consoles. I mean, the Switch is still selling. Their software sells like hotcakes. Nintendo's a different animal, for the simple fact that when you buy a Nintendo, you're buying Nintendo for the Nintendo experience. It's completely different from Xbox and PlayStation. Nintendo's kind of like its own thing. So they may continue with traditional model. I don't believe, and I don't see, and I could be wrong, I don't see Zelda, Mario, Metroid, those big iconic franchise that Nintendo has on a PlayStation or an Xbox. But you never know. They might decide to go that route too. But if they keep making money hand over fist with the way that they've been doing it, they might not decide to, because Nintendo rarely blunders. I think the only blunder they really ever had was the Wii U, which is the only Nintendo system I never owned. I had every other system but that one. And the Switch has probably been their biggest success of all time. So take that into consideration. All right, everyone, that'll do it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this content. Just remember, like and subscribe, and see why we're out popping smoke.